Trail cameras or camera traps are used by both hunters and simply animal lovers to monitor them in the wild. You can install them almost anywhere. Using built-in motion sensors, the camera fires whenever something moves nearby. But sometimes, such devices record much more than their owners expected. Hello there, and in this video, we offer you a look at the weirdest things ever caught on trail cameras. Horns. As a rule, when spring comes, deers part with their decorations, horns. But few people manage to see such a spectacle with their own eyes. But today you have such an opportunity. We clearly see a picture of how a wild animal, having experienced an itch, threw off its own horns with a simple shake of its head. Perhaps many of you might have just thought that this process should take much longer, but this forest dweller proved the opposite with this example. Just look, in a matter of seconds, the deer sheds its antlers. A girl named Anne managed to capture these amazing shots, but the camera was placed here to capture the deer eating apples that fell to the ground. By the way, the majority of users expressed their gratitude to the girl in the comments for sharing such a wonderful moment with everyone. It should also be noted that after the mating season, the deer's testosterone level drops, which ultimately leads to their loss of their own horns in the spring. At any rate, this sight looks very unusual. Don't you agree? New friend. What could be worse for animal lovers than a missing pet? And even worse, when you don't know anything about their condition or location. What if your pet needs help? All these thoughts rapidly ran through the mind of a young girl named Rachel, whose dog ran off of the leash. She tried for a long time to find her pet in the forest near her house, where they always took long walks, but all her efforts were in vain. Imagine her surprise when the dog came home a few days later, alive and well. But as the cameras placed in the forest later showed, her dog experienced a very interesting adventure. Where did the cameras come from? The fact is that Rachel's neighbor recently set up a camera trap in the woods near the house. So Rachel decided to ask her neighbor if the cameras possibly recorded her dog doing anything unusual. So just imagine, her dog not only got into the camera lens, but also found a new friend, a young buck. Their communication was so sweet and relaxed that it was impossible to take your eyes off of. The animals even ate and slept nearby. For almost an entire evening, the camera was filled with how the dog played and spent time with their new forest friend, and they seemed completely unconcerned by each other's presence. When the video appeared on the internet, people reacted to such an unusual story of friendship. Some wrote that it was surprising that the dog did not consider the deer as prey. Others commented on how nice it was to see that animals were enjoying each other's company so naturally, while others joked that the puppies will probably have horns. But no matter what was said, the story is really touching, and it makes you really smile. Mysterious mouse. Stephen McCrees, 72, first noticed moving objects in his barn in June 2019, and he asked his 70-year-old friend Rodney Holbrook to help him figure out the mystery. The man noticed plastic clips appearing in an old ice cream container filled with peanuts to feed the birds. And then more and more new instruments began to appear. As a result, the friends installed a security camera to declassify the mysterious guest. And what I can say is, the gentlemen were confused when they saw the footage of a charming little mouse diligently cleaning up the shed and even trying to lift objects twice its weight. For example, the heaviest were a plastic hose attachment and a small chain. You know what else is interesting? The mouse removed metal objects from about 12 to 3:30 at night, and this mouse did this every night for a month. Anomalies in appearance. The famous poet John Keats once wrote, "The poetry of earth is never dead." Long before him, Aristotle taught that there was something wonderful in everything about nature. But then what about this white-tailed deer with two noses? In the spring of 2018, a man was checking footage from a camera trap he had installed on his property in the village of Lancaster County. He says he's a hunter, and he sets up a camera every spring and summer to get a preview of potential prey for the fall season. The man was very surprised at such an unusual creature and decided to share the pictures on the internet. Dr. Justin Brown, a wildlife veterinarian with the Pennsylvania State Hunting Commission, suggested that the deer might have come under some circumstances in which it sustained a serious muzzle injury. And there is also a second opinion. It could be a congenital deformity, since it does very much resemble a second nose. What do you think happened to this deer? Write about it in the comments. Albino deer. It's almost impossible to see an albino deer in the wild. This video was recorded on a hidden camera in the forests of Pennsylvania. It clearly shows that one such albino deer walks calmly by itself. The author of the video stated in the comments that the deer was completely white and its eyes were red. He was just lovely, the man said. Most interestingly, it is not the first time that an albino deer has been spotted in this area. Of course, most likely it was the same animal, but it must be taken into consideration that these unique animals are in great danger because of their white fur. While brown deer can blend in with their surroundings, albinos stand out and have nowhere to hide. According to some sources and information from biologists, white deer are also called ghosts of the forest, and they are born once in 20,000 cases. A strange figure in the forest. Security footage can be quite strange, especially at night. It is logical to assume that such tracking devices, usually installed in the wilderness, can film some truly scary things. And if you were faced with this in reality, you might be really scared. And now you can see how the camera captured a figure with a strange face, glowing eyes, and wrapped in some kind of light cloth. I must admit, this looks very frightening. The creature walks past the camera without noticing it, continues in the same direction, and then disappears from view. It's not known for certain what this is, and it's unlikely that we'll ever find out. Eerie deer. As a hunter, one man set up a camera in the forest to find out what animals were coming around the area. But the man was horrified at what he saw on the tape. The fact is that the deer appeared in the frame, but its appearance was incredibly scary. The animal was more like a real zombie, like from horror movies. His whole body was covered with strange dark growths, and to put it mildly, it was not aesthetically pleasing. The man uploaded this information to the internet to understand what it was, and he learned that in 24 states, wild deer and elk can begin to show a debilitating disease that affects their central nervous system. Medical workers have announced that hunters should not come in contact with these animals, much less eat the contaminated meat. In these animals with this disease, there is a sharp decrease in weight, impaired coordination, and lethargy. In a severe stage, dark growths appear, or even in some places the skin completely disappears. Moreover, these deers are aggressive towards people, but at this time it is unsure if this disease can be transmitted or not, and as far as now it has not been possible to find out this information. The only thing doctors know for sure is that this disease is a type of rapidly progressive fatal disorder. As you can see for yourself, trail cameras can really be very useful and can show the most unusual things that you didn't expect to see. And that's all for today. Write in the comments what you think about these creatures, and don't forget to put like if you like this video. Thanks for watching, subscribe for more.